Hello, Josh Drummond here, commissioner of our league. I'm interviewing Abby Yates today, getting prepared for the championship game this coming weekend against Danny Kimmel and Team Kimmel. And we're going to interview both of the participants in the championship this year and kind of get some thoughts on what worked well for this season. So Abby, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. I'm doing very well.
Good. I
want
to thank you for joining me today and answering the hard questions that everybody's been asking all year. And the first question I have for you is, this is your 5th year in the league. I can't believe it's been that long already. This is your first shot at a championship. So how does that make you feel?
Well, Josh, I have been working toward this for a long time. Made some changes in my life that were really important to get me to this point. The main one being that I changed my team name to the Raging Wookiees to go with my tattoo that I got for this league.
Okay.
So I just decided to go all in this year and commit to the Wookiees 100%. So I'm feeling good about it.
Great, and I believe you even brought your mascot with you today.
I did, yes. It's with me all the time.
Okay. Look at that, and that is a little Chewbacca?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So you have that with you every game?
I do, yes.
Great. Well, maybe that's some of the keys to your success this year.
I think it is.
Great. Question number 2 I have for you. If you were to win the title and the money this year, how would this impact your future?
Well, as you know, I just had a baby, and so she was born in July. It was right before our draft, so I was preparing. I actually quit my job to go ahead and commit to the draft.
That's a big deal. I do understand.
Wait, start over. I want to say that
was good though.
being serious.
I like that. I like that. I quit my job for this. So this $300 means everything. All right. Ready? Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Abby, I have another question here for you. If you win the title and the money, how will this impact your future?
Well, like I said, I'm all in this year. So my daughter Gemma was born in July, and I decided in order to give Team Raging Wookiees everything they needed to be successful this year, I had to really go all in. And so what I decided was I needed to quit my job. And so I went ahead and just walked off the job, and I said, I'm going for my fantasy football draft, and I'll see you later.
Gotcha.
And so then I spent a lot of time just researching, and so I'm really ready to just have a little bit of a break. And so if I win, what I'm going to do is take the money and take my husband Brandon and my children on that honeymoon that we forfeited so that we could really concentrate on the team.
Great.
So we'll go ahead and go to Fiji. We'll do the 3-week vacation in the over-the-water bungalow, and it's just going to be amazing. And they have sacrificed so much to get us here too, so they deserve that.
That sounds amazing. I'm glad that the $300 first place prize can definitely help achieve those goals, and especially with the ways you put your priorities towards this league. It sounds like your hard work is paying off now.
Yeah.
Great. Well, what do you think the keys are to your success this year?
Well, this year I decided that I just had to really focus. I've kind of been known as maybe a little bit of a smack talker in the league. And so I decided that I needed to put more effort into actually setting my lineup than smack talking this year. And I think that really paid off for me.
Yeah, I can understand that completely. Spend more time talking the smack than backing it up. It'll kind of catch up to you there in the end.
Right.
So, well, tell me about the troubles that you've had on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, we know that you have 2 defenses. Picking the right one to play each week has kind of been hit or miss. How has that affected you?
Well, the Giants have really been, in the beginning of the year, they were really there. They were doing a great job. And then on their bye week, I went out and I needed to pick something up because I just couldn't risk having a 0 in that spot. And so I really pined over, is the Cardinals the right choice for my team? And so I went to them and I talked to them about Team Raging Wookiees and our priorities and got them on board for our vision. And so when I picked them up, they really followed through. Then they got a little bit off the wagon for a while. I had to pull them back into the locker room, talk to them about what we needed to do to get to this championship game. And they've still been a little iffy, but you know, between the two, we've just worked it out. Some weeks have been a little better than others, but I think that we're going into this final game feeling really good.
Great. You know, in that conversation you had with the defense, did you ever think about implementing a bounty program to give them a little bit of incentive to pick their game up?
You know, I'd rather not comment on that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We don't know who will see this video, so
Right.
I understand. You know, well, tell me about Drew Brees' leadership. You know, obviously he came off record-setting years, and his value is the #4 overall pick in the draft this year.
Well, you know, I'm friends with Drew, and so I told him that this year I really believed in him, and I was willing to basically put all of my eggs in that basket and let him run with it and decide what to do with it. And so he said, if you pick me up, coach, I'm going to go for it. And so I picked him up, and we went out for cocktails the next night and talked about what we were going to do going into this year. And he's really followed through every single step of the way.
Yeah.
We talked about having Sproles and Colston being some really big targets for him throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so he's really followed through. I'm so proud of him. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, #2 overall quarterback in the league now. Obviously with Sproles and Colston on your team, you know, definitely huge connection pieces to your puzzle there.
Yes.
And obviously, you know, you picked up Colin Kaepernick a couple weeks ago. He's obviously been the hot hand in San Francisco. How has that addition to the locker room been?
Well, it's a lot of extra tattoos.
Yeah.
And, you know, being a female coach, it can be a little uncomfortable with how attracted he is to me.
Fair enough.
But I just told him, let's focus on the team. And it's been hard for him sitting on the bench the last few weeks, and I just told him, you know, keep throwing those missiles down the field and you might get your chance to go in.
Yeah.
And so he and Drew are pretty good friends, but it is a little awkward, I'll admit that. And so we just are all working together on being a cohesive unit. And, you know, there's no I in team, there's a me in team if you
Absolutely.
flip it. And
No
so
question.
we're all going into this with that attitude that we're just going to go ahead and stay as a team unit.
So with that idea, you know, there's a me in team, and you probably being the me, is your team in you
It is.
in the locker room?
Oh,
Is there any kind of uncomfortable relationships that we should know about?
You know, I'm newly married, so I'd rather not
Yeah.
comment on that.
Let's, maybe we'll try and edit that out of the tips. We'll try and edit that out.
If you can. Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. You know, I've just got a couple more questions. We'll let you get back to your preparation. Obviously, it's been a busy week. How are you preparing your team for this game coming up?
Well, you know, I told them, since it is the week before Christmas, it's really important that they focus not on the things that most people would be focusing on this week, which would be, you know, I don't want them spending time with their families, because that's a distraction.
Absolutely.
I don't want them going to holiday parties, also a distraction. They shouldn't be watching any football on TV unless I go ahead and approve it.
Okay.
And so I basically sequestered them in a hotel room. The whereabouts are unknown to anyone but me and my defensive coach, Merritt Patton.
Okay.
And so we go and visit them, we bring them food, we talk about what we're going to do this week. And so they're getting really amped up and they're excited to see their families on Christmas.
Nice. And Merritt's your 7-year-old son?
Yes.
7, correct?
Yes.
So and he's your defensive coordinator?
Yes.
That might be some of the issues you might be having probably on the defensive side, but
You know, he's actually gotten really good at Madden football, and that's why I brought him onto the team.
Fantastic.
Because he understands the plays, and so he's really just spot on.
Gotcha. Great. Well, why don't you give me a little insight to your opponent coming up here, Team Kimmel, and more, of course, on the owner, Danny Kimmel.
Well, as we all know, he has played for the championship more than once.
Yeah. 3 years in a row now.
Yes, and so, you know, I just thought it was really ironic watching last week and thinking there's no way that this is going to happen again, that he'll be losing for the 3rd year in a row for the championship spot. But, you know, I'll take it because it just gives my team that much more spirit going into the game. They're so excited. They have a joke and a secret handshake about Kimmel that they just, they're just really happy about. And so we'll go ahead and show that on the field
Okay.
on Sunday. You know, I beat him already by 74 points.
Holy cow, that's a
Yeah.
blowout.
And so I'm just feeling really confident going into the game that I've got this.
Yeah, I mean, does it instill more confidence in you that he just doesn't seem to be able to win the big one?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we all know he can take the big one, but can he win the big one?
Takes the big one like a champ,
Yeah.
from what I've been told.
Yeah,
But I don't know anything personally about that.
well, I don't either, but
Obviously, yes,
we
obviously.
can just tell.
Fair enough, fair
Yeah.
enough. Any predictions for this game this Sunday?
Well, my prediction is that basically he just should sit his entire team because they don't need to be embarrassed.
Okay.
And that's really hard on their morale, especially going into the third year and losing again. And so just to keep their spirits up, I think he needs to go ahead and sit them, tell them it's okay, and that going into next year, he's going to just really focus on helping them to feel good about themselves. He should probably look into some like yoga retreats for his team.
There you go.
So that they can really focus on themselves inside, so that when they continue to lose,
Yeah,
they won't be so crushed in their spirit.
gotcha. It's better to forfeit than to take a complete embarrassing shellacking, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha. Great. Well, that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you stopping by and joining us, and we look forward to watching you guys play this weekend.
I just have one more thing to say.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Epic fail.
Thank you.
Go Wookiees.